So I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to double upload today because if you guys did not know what happened, this is what happened. Well, there you have it, folks. The ending of Hellmart. I was about to play Hellmart day 4 and then I realized that it was already the end. So I'm gonna give you the ending. So that's day 16.5. Wait, what day are we on? So that's day 17.5. And I'm gonna give you the day 18 spooky season video right now. And we are gonna be reacting to tarot card reading documentary, bro. You know, a lot of people like to not listen to things they disagree with, or because they're scared, they're afraid of it. Me personally, if I have questions, bro, I'm gonna find answers. Even if it's scary, if I don't believe it, if I disagree with it, black magic, all that stuff is against my beliefs that I shouldn't be doing it. But you know what? I got questions. I'm gonna find answers. Alright? But before we get started, Don Quixote do Flamingo. Like, comment, subscribe, and you will be entered to win it. All you have to do, subscribe to my channel, like the videos, comment on any of the day 1 of October to day 31st of October, and you'll be entered, you'll be qualified to get this. I'll pick one of my subscribers, and I'll be sending this to you guys. It's worth $60, bro. 5 seconds, that's all it takes. But I appreciate all the new subscribers so far, and guess what? Let's get it. So, I'm hoping I don't get copyrighted. So if you guys want to watch the original video that I'm going to react to, it's going to be in the description down below. It's from Guild of Secrets, 56,000 views. The title is Tarot in the Vatican, Masons and Occult, History of Tarot Cards Documentary. Don't let people tell you what to think, okay? Just, if you have questions, just understand that there will be consequences, okay? Everything in life has consequences. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So if you want to be curious, be prepared to face certain things. I've understood that. I've done things in my life like played what they call the devil's card game. I don't know if anyone's like me, but I've always been curious about certain things in life. I've always tended to question narratives that I've been told. And that's how I find the truth, bro. You can't find truth just listening to one source. You gotta look from you have to look different areas. Alright? Keep asking questions. That's just me. But if you're not brave enough, don't do it, bro. If you're not brave enough, don't do it. Because if those who aren't brave are gonna get eaten alive, I ain't going on. Let's get it.
Embodied a secret and esoteric alphabet. It's interesting to note that the church prohibited gambling and playing cards, but not tarot cards interpreted in this way. Etteilla enthusiastically read tarot cards for Parisians. These sacred items symbolize the 4 suits of tarot: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. What do the mysterious Atlantis, ancient Egypt, the European Renaissance era, Aleister Crowley, Masonic lodges, and
before we get started, not everything you see online is true. Okay, keep that in mind. Just because you hear it one spot doesn't mean it's the truth. It's like if 9 out of 10 people say something's true, then it's probably true. Most likely true. But always do your research, okay? Don't just look at one source and be like, oh, that's true because they said it. I learned that, bro. I learned my lesson, especially with fitness. Like, before we get started with the video, I'm gonna yap a little bit. So when I started my fitness journey, I was like 270 pounds. And I went through like crazy diets like keto, pescatarian, vegan, vegetarian. I did all these diets because I heard that it's the best for you, right? But what I realized is that all of that is wrong. All you have to be is in a caloric deficit, and you'll lose weight. You have to use more energy than you consume and train your body. So it's like, okay, I got to use this. So pretty much food is just energy. And if you're not using the energy, your body's going to store it into your body, and that's what creates fat. That's what I learned just going through all the mistakes that I did. And then on top of that, I had to learn how to like do certain exercises, because if I don't do it correctly, I'm gonna hurt myself, etc. So be sure to always do research in different areas. Learn from people that have done it. And yeah. So if you want to learn about black magic and stuff, I would listen to people, but that doesn't mean it's the truth. Okay? That's what I learned in life.
Alejandro Jodorowsky's never-released film Dune have in common. you would never guess unless you saw the clickbait title of this video. But the answer lies in 5 letters. Tarot. In the modern world, only a person living in a bunker has not heard of tarot cards and the predictions based on them. Endless crowds of YouTube tarot readers, TikTok mystics, TV fortune tellers, political tarot analysts, all of this pours out from every kettle, enticingly offering simple solutions to our complex life problems with the help of a stack of beautifully illustrated cards. For a long time, I wanted to figure out where to place the tarot system. What is tarot? Is tarot fortune telling based on prejudices and superstition?
Dude, look at her.
What is tarot?
Look at her
is tarot
posture, bro.
Telling based on prejudices and superstitions like palmistry or sympathetic magic? Or is it an esoteric practice that helps to delve into the essence of a person's psychological state and relationships with the material and spiritual through visual images and archetypes, and based on this, draw conclusions about the direction of our life's journey? In reality, the true power of this system remains an unknown mystery. However, in my opinion, it is possible to come closer to the truth. In this video, we will primarily delve into the historical background of tarot, focusing solely on facts and leaving aside most of the conjectures and interpretations. We will attempt to explore this phenomenon and answer the question, where did tarot cards originate from, and how has the system evolved from its inception to the present day? The first thing to note is that the word tarot itself has several possible origins. Some researchers claim that it derives from the Arabic turuq, meaning road or path, while others link it to the Celtic word tara, which may indicate a connection to the ancient Celtic magic. The name tarot is also associated with a card game popular amongst the Italian nobility during the Renaissance, in which tarot cards were used. This game is known as tarocchi, but we will discuss this later. As of 2024, there are thousands of varieties of tarot cards in the world, and many ways to interpret them. Modern custom decks are impressive for their creativity and ability to adapt to trends. Today we'll examine what are considered the most authentic decks, without which the history of tarot cards would be incomplete. Versions of tarot origins. There are several main theories and
So, like, if you see like a common pattern with these type of stuff, like astrology, all that stuff, it's like star. Like you see, there's like a star right there. I don't know. Like there's a star right here. And in what I believe in, my belief, let me show you guys. So like in the Bible, Lucifer is not a proper name for Satan, but he's also known as, like, the Hebrew word is Hallel. I don't know if I'm saying all this right? Also known as Shining One or the Morning Star. Hey, but that's what I believe in. I'm not, like, there's different versions, like the King James version of the Bible.
Legends on this topic. According to one legend, tarot is connected to the lost civilization of Atlantis. It is said that during the proto-civilization of Atlantis, people drew arcana on cards. Incidentally, arcana translates from Latin as mystery, and used them in their mysterious rituals and divinations. There is no evidence to support this theory, so we will not dwell on it for long. A much more interesting theory is the Egyptian one. It suggests that in ancient Egypt, there was a secret temple of initiations with drawings of the major arcana on its walls. Tarot is also linked to the legend of the Egyptian Book of Thoth. According to the legend, this ancient Egyptian text contained secret knowledge, magical formulas, and spells that could grant the book's possessor immense power and wisdom. This hypothesis was first proposed by one of the most famous researchers and popularizers of tarot, the Frenchman Antoine Cour de Gébelin, in his book on the game of tarot in 1781. However, we are getting ahead of ourselves. It is important to note that the connection...
See, like, the thing with all this stuff is that it's hard to see what is facts and what is speculation or what is not the truth. That's what's like confusing to people. So it's like based off. So at the end of the day, what you believe is what you believe. So if I say something, even if it is the truth, like if I say the sky is blue but you don't believe it, then obviously you're not going to believe it. I don't know, but so all I'm hearing now is I just need to see evidence, bro. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I need to see evidence, facts. You know, I need to see more. I need to hear it from more than one perspective of a person in order for me to actually believe it. Because nowadays people just believe everything, you know, especially with AI and you can fake anything nowadays. So I like to read things from like way back in the day because, bro, let's say like you get a book from like Europe and then you get a book from China and they say the same thing. Bro, you can't like fake that. How do you plan that? I don't know.
With Egypt has never been proven and is now considered merely a beautiful legend. Regarding the reason for the desire to establish a link between tarot and ancient Egypt, contemporary researcher Helen Farley aptly commented in her book, A Cultural History of Tarot. In late 18th century France, tarot had become so far removed from its original cultural context that deciphering its symbolism was no longer possible. Instead, it was reinterpreted according to a new set of intellectual trends, which included an admiration for exotic cultures, esoteric doctrines, and a yearning for a lost golden age. In particular, France was obsessed with Egyptomania, fueled by Napoleon's campaign in this exotic land. Arthur Edward Waite, the creator of one of the most influential tarot decks of the early 20th century, ironically commented on the achievements of the French in the history of tarot cards. In reality, no one knows where tarot came from, except for the natives of France, who always firmly know the answers to all questions in the field of occultism and its history. Thanks to their efforts, tarot has come to be called the Book of Thoth, or the Book of Hermes Trismegistus. And since the cards themselves provide no evidence for this, they began to perfect them and adorn them with Egyptian symbols. Indeed, it is truly unknown when Egyptian symbols began to appear on tarot cards. Upon deeper examination, it becomes evident that this is a classic case of reversing cause and effect to manipulate facts in support of preconceived notions. Thus, the theory of Egyptian origin of tarot seems quite implausible to me. Now let's move on to the third, and in my opinion, the most plausible version of the origin of tarot cards. The history of tarot cards begins 5 centuries ago, in the 15th century. This was an era of widespread reform.
Oh, why
a
did
time
I pause
of
there?
blossoming of
Sorry.
art and new ideas, creation.
So like what I hear is that these, you know how different religions have different gods, that these gods are like fallen angels. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about that.
And reinterpretation. In simple terms, the era we now call the Renaissance. The 15th century, the center of civilization, Italy, and the city of Milan, the Visconti dynasty rules. It is here that the then unknown artist Bonifacio Bembo painted his 22 triumphs, or trumps, a series of cards that, with little alteration, became part of the classic tarot deck. These cards were used to play a game popular among the nobility called tarocchi. The game of tarocchi typically involved 4 players who competed against each other. The game somewhat resembled the modern game of bridge. I will say a few words about the structure of the classic, if we can call it that, tarot deck. It consists of 78 cards, 22 major arcana, and 56 minor arcana. Like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing cards, there are 4 suits: wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. The suits only apply to the minor arcana, and if we leave out the major arcana, we are left with an almost standard deck of modern playing cards. The major arcana were used as trumps. First and foremost,
Bro, this is like a motherfucking Magic, you know what I'm saying? Magic the Gathering, bro. I don't know. Usually when I hear like people tell me about tarot cards, it's black magic stuff and you shouldn't mess with it. But what I'm hearing so far, it's kind of like originated from a card game. And that's something I didn't really know. That's why it's good to have questions. I mean, ask questions, because then you start learning things. Instead of like being biased and having your own biased take on it, you learn other things. Like, especially with different cultures, they have different things, like different practices. Like, for example, growing up, my family always, we had to take our shoes off inside and wore slippers. I guess that's like the Asian culture. Respect, because you don't want to bring your dirty shoes inside the house where it's clean. So what I learned is to always ask questions and not to judge. Well, everyone judges, let's be real, bro. But to always ask questions, because things are different. Like, people live differently, different ideologies, different rules, you know? So this is something new.
Cards reflect the social structure of that time. The major, predominant arcana, kings, queens, princes, princesses, and the entourage of nobles represent the upper echelon, the elite, the intelligentsia, and the brains of science. The minor arcana depict commoners, creative individuals, slaves, and serfs, dreaming of a better life and the opportunity to approach the court. Wands represent slaves, laborers, and workers. Swords symbolize the military, the guards who defended the gates. Pentacles represent wealthy nobles, merchants, while cups represent common people, artists, poets, and musicians. It's interesting to note that the church prohibited gambling and playing cards, but not tarot cards interpreted in this way, which were used even for readings in the Vatican. By tracing the analogy of the major arcana, it's evident that they clearly depict the struggle between good and evil, temptation by sins, the purification of the soul, enlightenment, the attainment of spirituality, and faith in higher powers. Even one of the tarot cards, the fifth arcana, the Hierophant, depicts the Pope as a sign of deep respect by the creators of the deck towards the existing religion. But beyond the Italian nobility, the cards did not gain widespread popularity until the 18th century. Etteilla Tarot. The situation changed dramatically around the years of 1773, when Count Antoine Cour de Gébilon, who had previously studied theology at the University of Lausanne and later became a wandering preacher of the Reformed Church, became fascinated with mythology and sacred mysteries. He began to publish...
That's the thing, what I learned is that the reason why there's a lot of denominations of Christianity, which is what I believe in, is because people interpret the books or like the text differently. So it's like, oh, one person's like, one denomination thinks this way, one denomination thinks this way. That's why people don't like religion, because it's like, oh, why do you have like 20? It's like, because, bro, people interpret things differently. Let's say like one person learns something in class, like a teacher says something, another person could think, oh, but this means that, you know? It's so weird.
His unprecedented work, The Primitive World, analyzed and compared with the modern world. One volume of his research contained an essay on the game of tarot. Additionally, as an appendix, there was his own investigation of tarot, including the possibility of divination through cards. It was there Gébilon first proclaimed the hypothesis regarding the Egyptian roots of tarot and elevated the teachings of tarot to the legendary book of Thoth. 2 years later, the Gébilon's disciple, the Parisian master barber Eliette, began publishing under the name Etteilla, a method to entertain oneself with a deck of cards called tarot. He changed his name in 1781 when he joined the Masonic Lodge, of which his teacher, de Gébilon, had been a member since 1776. 5 years later, he began trading in Paris with his own deck of 78 cards, richly infused with Masonic symbolism, and it was he who pioneered the introduction of commercial fortune-telling. Etteilla enthusiastically read tarot cards for Parisians, which was quite expensive in those times, and soon made a fortune from it. In 1788, Simon Bloquel released a deck that was a variant of Etteilla's deck. Half a century later, with a 20-year interval, 2 more variants of Etteilla's deck were published. Then, in 1855, the French occultist Alphonse Louis Constant, whom we now know as Eliphas Levi, published his book Dogma and the Ritual of High Magic, which became a cornerstone in the development of occultism.
See this right here, this Baphomet thingy, is considered bad in what I believe in, like Christianity. But what I understand is like, I'm able to put my beliefs to the side and listen to other people that believe these things. Like, one thing I don't like about what Christians do is they deem everything as demonic. Oh, don't go next to that guy, he's demonic. Or don't listen to that because it's demonic. That's demonic. This is demonic. This is demonic. I'm pretty sure like half the people that say everyone's demonic has never even picked up a Bible or went to church. So that's what one thing I learned is like, before I have an opinion on somebody, yeah, I can have an opinion, but obviously don't hate them. That's why you ask questions, you know? Don't deem everyone as bad already. Because what you think is bad doesn't mean that someone else will think it's bad. Or if I cuss and I say a bad word, someone else wouldn't think that's a bad word because they're used to it, you know? I don't know, I've always thought that way. It's like, dude, it's so dumb that people can't just like put their disagreements aside and have a conversation about it. Like, why do you think that's bad? Why do you think that's good? Why do you believe in that? Why do you believe in this? Bro, come on now. That's why people are so separated nowadays.
The structure of his book was quite intriguing. 2 parts, with 22 chapters each, corresponding to a specific tarot arcana. Eliphas Levi was less interested in the fortune-telling aspect of using tarot cards. Instead, he was more inclined towards unveiling the sacred mystery of Jewish Kabbalah. In his understanding, the cards embodied a secret and esoteric alphabet, close to the understanding of the uninitiated, with each of the major arcana corresponding to a specific place on the Kabbalistic tree of life. Interestingly, the works of Eliphas Levi, which influenced the activities of several occultists, including, by the way, Arthur Edward Waite, also inspired the accomplished British novelist Edward Bulwer Lytton to create impressive novels filled with mysticism and references to the tarot. These novels had an indelible impact on mystics and occultists such as S.L. MacGregor Mathers, W.B. Yeats, who taught Arthur Edward Waite hermeneutics. We'll talk more about Waite in this video, and Aleister Crowley, whose activities were closely linked to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, founded in 1886 by Dr. William Wynne Westcott, shaping the development of occultism in England in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Golden Dawn
I ain't gonna lie, like, the stuff that I know, like with cults and stuff like that, they do some weird stuff. Like, the way I see it is like, if you see patterns of people doing certain things and it's not good for them, then it deems bad, right? So like, people could drink alcohol, but a lot of the times, a lot of people's problems comes from drinking alcohol. Because alcohol, all it is just like suppressing your emotions because you're stressed. I used to be that way, honestly. Same with smoking too. Smoking is deemed as bad because number one is a truth, it's a fact, it's bad for your health. And at the end of like, what smoking does is just suppress your emotions or suppress your stress, you know? Like, oh, I'm stressed. I used to smoke too, bro. That's why I know it's a fact. Like, smoking and drinking is not good for you. It's actually bad. Are people that do it bad considered bad people? No. But drinking and smoking is a fact that is bad for you to do. But just because you do it doesn't mean you are a bad person. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Samuel Liddell MacGregor Mathers developed the rituals of the Golden Dawn Order and was its leader in the 1890s when the order was considered particularly influential. Mathers and his wife, Moena Bergson, who had a talent for drawing, created a special tarot deck. Thus, the Golden Dawn Tarot was born, introducing the English version of the tarot to the world and informing the basis of Arthur Edward Waite's system. Before delving into Waite himself, it's worth mentioning a number of researchers without whom the history of tarot would be practically impossible to envision. Bohemian Tarot of Papus. First and foremost is Eliphas Levi.
There's so much like different versions of tarot. I did not know that. I thought it was just like one thing. Like the tarot that I know is like the fortune teller. You go to the fortune teller, they like flip it. I did not know it was a card game. I didn't know the origins behind it. And I didn't know there's like different versions, bro. That's crazy.
His follower, Gerard Encos, renowned as Papus, he authored such monographs as Bohemian Tarot and Fortune-Telling Tarot. A notable detail, an album of 78 cards was included as an appendix to the latter book. Since the paper was poor quality, it was suggested to cut out the cards first to avoid the swift deterioration, and then paste them onto cardboard. Papus also attributed astrological attributes to the major arcana. Swiss occultist and Freemason Oswald Wirth managed to create his graphic representation of the Papus tarot system. His 22 major arcana are a model of refinement and sophistication, not to mention the skillfully depicted symbolism. These cards were included in the edition of Papus's Bohemian Tarot. Arthur Edward Waite's Tarot. Waite was born in the USA, where he spent his childhood from a very young age.
Different tarot, like that's what I'm talking about, bro. Like you can't. That's why you can't believe everything like right when you see it, because there's so much different versions of it. Oh no, bro! Holy moly!
He was interested in magic and occultism. The reason for this unusual inclination was a special state he experienced during an illness. For several days, much to the horror of family and doctors, he fell into a semi-conscious state. According to his own admission, it was during this time that he had an enlightenment experience, realizing the unity of the world and humanity. Afterwards, he quickly recovered, and upon regaining his health, despite his exceptionally young age, he firmly understood what he intended to dedicate his life to. He moved to England and continued his studies there. Waite was most devoted to occultism. He studied Kabbalah, alchemy, Freemasonry, and sought to find the key that would unlock the meaning of ancient rituals. In 1891, in London, he joined the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, where he became dominant.
The heck
Waite had a particular passion for the legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Studying the annals, he concluded that the legendary Holy Grail should be understood not as one, but as 4 objects: a spear, a cup, a sword, and a platter. These sacred items symbolize the 4 suits of tarot: wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. From there, it was just a short step to the intention of embodying the ideas and symbols of tarot in appropriate artistic forms. And here, Waite's fellow member of the Golden Dawn, Pamela Coleman Smith, came to his aid. Born in England, she nevertheless grew up in an American family and received her training as a theatrical artist in the United States. She was greatly drawn to illustrating books. Being naturally inclined towards mysticism, she joined the Golden Dawn in 1903, where she immediately bonded with Waite, choosing him as her spiritual mentor. Her interaction with Waite had a very direct impact on her. After some time, she noticed that when listening to music recommended by Waite, she experienced extraordinary and vivid visions. Gradually, she began to sketch them, and then, in hopes of getting an interpretation, she turned to Waite. Their joint studies continued for quite some time, and in 1909, an unprecedented deck of cards was created, distinguished from all others by the fact that the cards of the minor arcana were also illustrated. Compared to Papus's work, released the previous year and equipped with...
Bro, all this is just like different rebranding of certain things, like magic, sorcerers, angels, demons, religion, ideologies. I mean, I think that's why some people don't like art, because it goes like, I see, like me personally, I think like I wouldn't really practice tarot reading or astrology or any of that stuff, but that does not mean I wouldn't want to hear about it. like learn why people practice it.
Of a modest album of cards that could only be used when cut out and glued onto pieces of cardboard. This was indeed a full-fledged deck that instantly gained worldwide popularity, setting a kind of standard for later tarot decks. And a year later, Waite's monograph, The Illustrated Key to the Tarot, was published. This book described all 78 cards of the major and minor arcana, as well as providing predictive meanings in upright and reversed positions. Additionally, the book included an extensive comparative analysis of all preceding tarot systems. Thoth Tarot. Another important figure who influenced the development and popularization of tarot in the 20th century was the mystic Aleister Crowley, who published a unique book in 1944 called The Book of Thoth.
So
he joined the Golden Dawn.
This Aleister Crowley guy, so a lot of people talk about Aleister Crowley like he's a really evil guy. He's a English occultist, ceremonial magician, poet, novelist, mountaineer, and painter. He founded the religion of Thelema, identifying himself as a prophet, entrusted with guiding humanity into the Aeon of Horus in the early 20th century. Yeah, like a lot of people that believe in like God, like Jesus and stuff, the Christians, they don't like the occultists, because they deem them as like practicing demonic stuff like that. That's what I've been hearing growing up. I mean, because my family's Catholic, you know, but I've always wondered why. So that's why I started like asking questions, and kind of like, I don't spend all my time reading about it, obviously, because like for some reason, like you can't really prove, I don't know, like I don't want to waste so much time of my life chasing something that may or may not be true. I'm only doing this because it's spooky season and I'm learning. I've always wanted to learn about this stuff, you know. But yeah, going back to the topic, Aleister Crowley is like super evil in my belief system.
And in 1909, in his work 777, he revealed the numerological principles of the tarot, partially drawn from Mathers, who was leading the order at the time. Crowley, together with Frieda Harris, created his exclusive tarot.
So for like some context, 777 means like perfection. In the Bible, 777, like 777, can symbolize divine perfection and completeness, especially the perfection of the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. But if you look at it, like in Las Vegas, 777 is jackpot. Aleister Crowley, the occultist, 777, he uses that. So it's like, bro, my brain. And in Genesis 5:31, the only direct mention of the number 77 is in the genealogy from Adam to Noah, where it states, altogether, Lamech lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. While this is the literal text, many believe the number is symbolic, indicating a perfection or completion in Lamech's life before the flood. So what does 777 mean? So Aleister Crowley, 777 refers to his book, 777 and other Kabbalistic writings, which is a dictionary of correspondences for ceremonial magic, occultism, and cooperative religion. So he thinks that the 3 sevens can represent a lightning flash descending the worlds of the tree of life, a key symbol in his system. Interesting.
Unmatched by any other. Here is how these cards look like.
What the heck, bro?
Crowley's life and work are incredible, and he rightly stands as one of the most significant magicians and interpreters of the tarot of the 20th century. Perhaps we will return to him in this series again. Let us know in the comments if you would like us to make a separate video about Aleister Crowley. In conclusion, I would like to mention another person who influenced the popularization of modern-day tarot, namely the mystic and legendary filmmaker Alejandro Jodorowsky, who, by the way, is Chilean but has Ukrainian roots. His parents were natives of the city of Dnipro. He is the author of several decks and monographs on tarot interpretation. He is an incredibly profound mystic, an occultist who, in his films, explores concepts of reality and spiritual growth 30 years before it became mainstream. I strongly recommend watching his film, The Holy Mountain, and sharing your impressions in the comments. And if I see enough people in the comments saying, I don't understand anything, what kind of crap did you recommend to me? I think I will be happy to dissect the ideas of this film in one of the next videos. Interestingly, Jodorowsky has always said in interviews that tarot is a tool of reality, and looking to these cards for the future is risking being a charlatan. Nevertheless, what is the future but a projection of the present directly onto time? But that's already too philosophical a debate, and I promised only facts in this video. Well, it's time for conclusions. I think we were able to briefly trace the thread along which this system developed in these 20 minutes. It seems to me now clear why these cards have so strongly attracted the attention of not just one generation of people worldwide. The tradition still evolves and lives on, and who knows, maybe in the coming years, tarot cards will inspire new mystics to understand reality and create new concepts and systems that can help humanity grow and develop. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and be sure to leave a comment. It will help us grow and make new videos for you. Thank you all for watching. See ya.
You guys let me know what you guys think about tarot cards and stuff like that. Remember, just because you disagree with something doesn't mean you have to hate that person that you're disagreeing with. Okay? I've learned that. Everyone is not going to think the same. Everyone has different beliefs. We have Christians, we have Muslims, we have Jewish people, we have people that believe in astrology, they believe in cults, they believe in Masonic stuff. Bro, it doesn't matter. Never hate other people. You could disagree with it. You don't have to like an ideology, but never hate the person that practices it. That's something that I would always tell people, you know? Hey, you know what? Like, for example, I like the gym. A lot of people don't like me because they think I'm an a-hole. Because they think like gym bros are like a-holes. I mean, I guess we are a-holes because we don't care about feelings. Because when you're in the gym, you got to be disciplined. So you got to put your emotions aside in order for you to grow. You know? Because, for example, like if you wake up one day and you're like, oh, I don't feel like going. You're going to have to tell yourself mentally, like, I don't care how you feel. You're going anyway. So that's why people that go to the gym are like more so cold-hearted, or they roast each other more. Oh, you're dumb. Is because we built a mentality where words or emotions don't get to us. You get me? But yeah. Leave a like on the video. Tell me what you guys think about tarot card reading, if it's bad to you. There's no wrong answer, okay? You believe what you believe, bro. And I'm not going to force no one to believe what I believe in. But if you guys have not seen the last video, right here. Kaboom! I played Silly's game show with Paduski. Like, comment, subscribe to be entered to win Don Quixote do Flamingo on November 1st. That's when I will be picking the winner. But yeah. Let me know your thoughts on tarot cards, black magic, stuff like that, fortune tellers, anything. I'm out of here.